You're invited to tune in to Grenada Music to the World program, hosted by Eugene Gittens on Saturday mornings from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9, Hot FM 98.5, 98.7, GBN TV, and all their social media platforms. The only totally local music program in Grenada, representing all genres of music. So it's Greenz Music to the World on Saturday mornings from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on GBN with the music icon himself, Mr. Eugene Gittens. See you then.
Greenz Music to the World is brought to you by Gittens Pharmacare, the pharmacy that cares. Halifax Street, St. George's. Natural Cool, Spiceland Mall, Grand Anse. Cool clothes for cool people. The Computer Store Grenada Limited, Spiceland Mall, Grand Anse. The Gamers Paradise with headsets by Razer, Conair, JBL, Sony, Astro, Logitech, and more. And Island Catering, without a doubt, the best food and catering service on the island. Gittens Pharmacare, the pharmacy that cares. Halifax Street, St. George's. Affordable access to care, a wide range of prescription drugs, medical supplies, health and beauty items, diabetic testing supplies, immune system support products, vitamins, supplements, and lots more. Visit us today or call 440-2165. Ask about or call in prescriptions, discounted items, and special delivery requests. Gittens Pharmacare. Care, convenience, expertise. We've got it all.
Good morning, Grenada, and welcome back to Greenz Music to the World. After a short break for the Olympics, Tokyo 2020, what a great game. In the background, we have the music of Mr. Legs. It's called a Happy Life Rhythm, and that's my theme for today. As usual, we've got a great show lined up for you. We've got in the studio right now as my co-host, Mr. Simon Green. We're going to be just chatting a couple of things. We're going to be talking about the Olympics. We're going to be talking about just briefly about what happened earlier this week. You know, that whole situation with the with the jab and what have you. And then a little later on in the program, we are going to bring in our very special guest for today, and that will be Mr. Cecil Bartholomew, guitarist. Simon, say good morning. Let me get your levels.
Oh, yes. Well, good morning, Eugene, and of course to all the classic listeners out there. You know, it's kind of strange. I'm actually inside the studio. Normally, I listen to this program in the morning time. It's my vibe, you know.
I hear you.
I mean, they say those of us born in the 70s are classics, right? So naturally, you know, I just really love the vibe here. And of course, talking music and talking anything to do with Grenadian art and culture is always very refreshing for me. So It's nice to be here this Saturday morning.
Welcome, man. You know, your mic sounds better than mine, so I'm going to try to fix mine a little better. Let me make sure I get a better sound off of this thing. Get it out of the way as well. Okay, so here we go. Mr. Legs. Did I say it's called the
Happy Rhythm.
Happy Life Rhythm. Yeah, real nice rhythm. It's one of my favorite. It's my rhythm for the week, man. I've been playing this all week long.
Nice. You know, it sounds almost vintage. At first, when you first played it, I actually thought it was a throwback kind of a rhythm from maybe the 80s. You know, in that period, we really had a lot of instrumentation in our music, and there was a richness in it, it felt like. So that sound, when I heard it first, I thought, wait a minute, is that an old flying cloud coming back in?
Yeah.
Initially.
No, it's definitely vintage.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it. And
That's
the brass, man, the brass is...
Man,
the brass
that's
is
my
wicked.
thing.
Yeah, the brass. Oh, yeah. You're right. You play the saxophone.
I play the alto sax, yes. You know?
Yeah, the brass is beautiful.
So whenever I hear good, rich brass music, well arranged, you know, it really hits the spot.
Sure.
You know, it's like I'm listening to that first track you played with the Mighty Sparrow there. You know, just coming in there.
Oh, that was what's his name? That was before me. That was from the last show. That was Joe, you know.
Oh, okay. But I mean, all the you know, the guys like Errol Ince and those guys used to arrange really good brass music for the soca and calypso genre back then. I mean, for me, that was just a very inspirational part of my musical experience.
Right.
Listening to those kinds of arrangements from those days, and I miss it in the new music. So it's good that Mr. Legs, you know, brought it back.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that brass is killer. You know?
That's right. You know.
Yes, so Simon, we got to chat a little bit, and then we're going to bring in our special guest, Cecil Bartholomew. But let's start with the Olympics, man. I'll pull back the music a little bit. Let's start with the Olympics. What do you thought of the game, just real quickly and generally?
You know, the fact that we can have this in a pandemic, you know, I thought it was a very reassuring, you know, experience for the world, the human race in general, that regardless of whatever confronts us, you know, this camaraderie of sports and, you know, having the world come together and celebrate athletics and literally play together and, you know, experience that kind of high-level competition is really a true testimony as to how us as human beings are built for resilience, you know?
And Simon, you know, before you go on, I mean, I know everybody in Grenada knows you, but we have listeners from outside of Grenada who may not. And I just wanted, it was a miss of me to not introduce you properly. And so I just want to say, you know, you're a cultural enthusiast.
Certainly.
Entrepreneur, owner of Heritage Tour and Hiking Company.
Yeah,
Hidden Treasures,
yes.
right? An avid hiker.
Correct.
And you were born in Grenada, then moved to Toronto,
True.
and then moved back home.
Correct.
Right. So if there's anything else I left out, let me know. I know there's a connection to Telfer Bideau. Tell me about that.
Oh, yeah. Well, Telfer is one of those individuals who had an indelible impact on my life in so many ways. Fortunately for me, he was my neighbor from about 7 years old. You know, at that time, we moved to Grenville. You know, my mom had a project in that parish per se, and we moved to Grenville and lived close to Soubise in a little village called Monsigney. Right, and part of my childhood memories was about taking the rowboats out with Telfer on the reef in Grenville and catching, you know, lamby and sea urchins and so, and hiking as a hobby on the weekends. So by the time I was probably maybe 12, 13, I probably climbed every peak on the island at that time. A lot of the knowledge I learned about navigation on the sea using the stars and so to figure out cardinal points, you know, reading contour maps and all of that stuff. For me, it was just a fun thing to do. I didn't realize there was a real science behind it until I began to study in university and then realized, wait a minute, I learned all these things for free.
from Telfer Bideau, right? Yeah,
you know,
of course. He's like one of... Tell us.
Well, Telfer is really the pioneer of hiking and guiding in Grenada. Before anyone really thought of that as something to do professionally, he literally started that. And what's amazing about him, you know, he did that at a time when most people did not even think of ecotourism or heritage tours as a real business per se. I mean, today people come to Grenada specifically for that, you know. But he was a man still is a man far ahead of his time. He will be 83 years old this year.
Wow, and still hiking.
Yes, and it also is a testimony for folks out there who need to follow your passion. I mean, he's a guy who just had a major love and still still have a major love for nature and Grenada, and so I mean he has like every peak from Grenada to St. Vincent throughout the Grenadines. You know, we sail a lot. You know, kayaking is another passion of his. Last year during the pandemic, well, not just during, but we still are in the pandemic, but at the start of it, he actually completed 2,000 miles of kayaking, and we published an article also in Compass magazine to really celebrate that accomplishment of his. And of course later on the BBC picked up a story a few months ago, and they basically branded him the Indiana Jones of the Caribbean.
Like that. Yeah, that's what he is. Indiana Jones.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know, the man who really mapped Grenada by hand, and in fact he has actually a map of Grenada, a contour map of Grenada he has constructed that shows all the rift valleys and all of the major ridges, let's say, on the island. You know, that for me is really a national treasure when you really analyze it. You know, and that for me now is a huge reference point for me to craft a lot of very exciting hikes and adventures that I take, you know, my local and international guests who come into the island for that.
Excellent.
So
excellent.
yeah.
Listen, so let's get back to the Olympics. Some of my takeaways from the Olympics, one is the tremendous contribution of Karani James. I mean, we take that, and I don't think we take it for granted, but I think we need to put it in perspective. I mean, what that one individual has done for Grenada.
True.
I mean, you know, medaling 3 times. Yeah. You know, gold, silver, bronze.
Phenomenal.
For a little country like us, they're huge countries, much larger than us, with many more resources than us, many larger contingents than us at the Olympics, who have never medaled.
That's true.
Who have never gotten gold, who have never gotten silver. I mean, and this one individual has done this all for us. I mean, we just have to give him so much praise.
Certainly.
The other thing that caught me, the other point for me, takeaway from me, is the athletic stadium. I think that has done a lot to motivate that generation of athletes like Karani James and stuff. When that came, you know, it's like almost like from my perspective as a musician, having a center for the performing arts in Grenada and what that would do for Grenada. It's like if we had a center here with all the lights and everything ready for shows and stuff, it would just do so much for the industry. And I think that's what the athletic stadium did for sports. And I also want to just point that out. You know,
I support that idea. You know, if you could remember when you were a child, right, and you look at TV and you see stars or you see athletes and so out there, let's say, well, you're a musician, right? So you perhaps will pick up some item and try to sing like somebody who you idolize, etc. And you imagine this stage, you imagine this space where you are performing. You know, the fact that, you know, this generation of young athletes can actually see that space, can be in that space, can run on a high-end turf, a track, you know, and can really feel as though, yes, they're getting ready for something huge. It's a major, you know, influence on how far they could reach, you know, because they have now the tools, they have now the setting, you know. So that, for me, I agree, you know, has definitely made a huge impact on what we have done internationally in athletics.
And the third takeaway for me is, you know, the importance of coaching, of coaches, of practice, of hard work, of discipline, setting goals. And you know, those things, you know, I listen to the Jamaicans talk about the 3 Jamaican women who won, talking, and I forget the name, the one who got the goal, talking about her coach, and even Karani, I mean, his coach.
That's right.
You know, we underestimate the power of the coach, and not just in sports, but across the board. That's right. Academics, music, everything. And again, I want to put all those 2 in perspective: academics, sports, and music. Correct. Because I think that balanced approach to the development of the individual is really, really important.
Oh, certainly. You know, most times we see the end product of a teamwork and years of toiling behind the scenes. You know, that few seconds on the track, we sometimes, you know, imagine is just some flick of a switch. that it actually occurs. But the amount of work that coaches put in and individuals themselves, retraining their mind, pushing yourself beyond limits sometimes, most of us as spectators don't really get to see that.
Right.
You hear a piece of music played and you think, wow, that just happened. But no.
and we're going to see that. We're going to see that this morning when Cecil Bartholomew plays live for us. I mean, the years I would have gone into to that kind of level of play.
That's right.
We will see in a little while. Mm-hmm. But certainly, and the other thing about music is that, apart from a discipline like sports, is the fact that people who play music, and that's proven scientifically, people who play music have they do better at things like math and it helps your academics. Just like sports
does. Complementary.
They're complementary. Yeah.
And there used to be a school of thought that used to say, forget about music, forget about sports, and focus on the books. Don't waste time doing that.
No,
I've had parents say that to kids sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, as a child, I could reflect. I was never very the most studious person, meaning that I don't spend a lot of time reading over things. Most times, once I get a concept, it's there. But I spent a lot more time, riding my bike. I used to be very involved in martial arts and hiking, all the different things, as a kid, keep me busy. And when I really analyze it, because I had so many other things to manage, I learned management at a very early age.
Right.
How much time do I commit towards, something I like in the sporting side, competitions like in martial arts or academics, etc. And having balanced those things out, it actually strengthened every area.
Right.
Right. So I think for parents out there, it is something that we need to be very aware of. Always try to nurture your kids in a holistic way. You never know what talents they may be hiding inside of them, and if you can provide more opportunities for them to explore them, without feeling as though, they're wasting time singing or dancing or running or what have you, give them some chance to do that, and you'll be amazed.
I hear you. Yeah. Listen, let's take a little break and let's play another song. Let me just, by the way, people, you don't see behind here, they don't see behind it, but there's a mixing board with about 16 channels which I control. Right. And then I have my computer on the side controlling. We're going to play Inspector the Wrong Way, and then we're going to come back and chat a little bit about some of the stuff that happened earlier this week.
Sure.
So let's do that. We're going the wrong way.
Gittens Pharmacare, the pharmacy that cares. Halifax Street, St. George's. Affordable access to care, a wide range of prescription drugs, medical supplies, health and beauty items, diabetic testing supplies, immune system support products, vitamins, supplements, and lots more. Visit us today or call 440-2165. Ask about or call in prescriptions, discounted items, and special delivery requests. Gittens Pharmacare. Care, convenience, expertise. We've got it all.
We going the wrong way. Don't you understand? We going the wrong way. I'm singing man to man. We going the wrong way. In this world of corruption.
Yeah, Inspector, we're going the wrong way. And listen, the Facebook link to the show is available on the GBN Facebook page and on the Greenz Music to the World page. So share it up. I know there are a lot of people excited to hear Cecil this morning, so share the link. All right, so Simon, I want to talk about what we saw happening in Grenada earlier in the week, from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And normally, Simon, as you know me, I usually like to just stick in my corner. I like to just stick with my music, and not really comment on things like politics and religion and, social issues. I like to hold it down with my music. But sometimes, you got to take a stand, and sometimes you got to stand. Mm-hmm. And what I would say is that I was very disappointed with what I saw. Mm-hmm. I cannot really condone recklessness, irresponsibility. I think we're better than that as Grenadians, and it really doesn't represent who we are as a people. And so I need to talk. I need to, I'm forced to talk about it. I mean, when we lose, or when a country, when anybody loses respect for law and order, that is opening up the door for a complete breakdown of society. So we really have to uphold those things like law and order. And don't take our culture and turn it into lawlessness, really. I mean, that doesn't go down well with me. The reality of the fact is we are in the middle of a global pandemic, and we need to start there. All countries are forced to take a lot of actions that their citizens, that they wouldn't normally have to take, and that their citizens would feel a lot of pressure on it. We feel a lot of pressure. I mean, that's reality. People, people lost their jobs. Everything's a lot of stress. Things are prices are going up. A lot of things are happening. So I mean, we understand it, but I think we need to not lose sight of the fact that we are in a pandemic and we are trying to work our way out of it to get back all those things that we lost.
Well, certainly. I'm going to step back even further from you in terms of how I would enter the argument or the conversation, let's say. Yes, there have been times in human history where we have to protest against things that may be considered legal, but in fact they irk at what we consider decency or the human side of it. For example, apartheid was legal once upon a time in South Africa. Colonialism was legal, and because of protest of people, these laws were changed and things happened. Now, fast forward to where we are right now. We are in the middle of a global pandemic. For a long time, our doctors and health professionals and so the folks that we often go to for whatever it is, whether it's a little cold or something major, etc., we trust them to help us to live better lives, healthier lives, right? And the majority of them are saying to us now, look, there's this thing happening out there. We still are gathering data, but we found something so far that seemed to be able to mitigate or help along the line, right? Of course, as just even though if you don't have a medical background, that things like viruses and bacteria and so could be transmitted from either person to person or in the air or what have you. So obviously, if they're saying things like social distancing is important, meaning that you're very conscious of being in crowds, right? Basic sanitizing, things that we kind of grew up with normally, but now we're saying, okay, there's more emphasis now on that, right? Then take that to heart. Now, at the same time, because we live in a world now where all sides have equal access to media, right? Especially social media. And it's very hard for even ordinary people to fact check everything because you're bombarded with so much stuff. I could really understand the confusion that exists. But again, think about it. If we are in a pandemic and the professionals out there in the medical field, our governments are saying to us, look, let's hold on for a little while, right? We love carnival, we love to socialize, all the things we enjoy as human beings naturally. This is normal. We're not saying this is banned forever, right? But hold on for a little while. Let's figure out what's going on with this pandemic first. Let's make sure people don't get sick or die or hospitals don't get overwhelmed, right? I think that ought to be understood first and respected.
Yeah, because the same people who are complaining, we are aware of the situation. Under normal circumstances, we don't have the resources, even in the medical field, to handle just normal things, far less the results of a pandemic. But you mentioned something about fact checking and stuff, and I want to give people some practical information. I want to share a story about somebody I had a conversation with if I have time, but some practical information that can help all of us. And one, it's really easy to fact check information these days. What you get stuff, what you can do is simply fact check the information that you receive by simply going to Google, put fact check and put the information in.
Right.
And Google will tell you, right, whether this is a valid something or whether it's invalid. So that's so like whether it's credible or whether it's not.
True.
So it's really that easy to do. The next thing is, and I've made a decision to do that a long time ago, and I stop forwarded information that cannot be verified
True.
and does not come from a legitimate source, because you just
You fuel the propaganda.
you're fueling the propaganda. So
Yeah.
if you get something, somebody send me some foolishness, I look at it, I don't know if it's right. I might fact check it. If I don't even have time to fact check it, but I know already, just from looking at where it's coming from,
Right.
I know I would not forward it. Don't forward stuff, because you're just confusing everybody by
Exactly.
forwarding stuff that is not valid, that does not come from a reliable source. Thirdly, go to the reliable sources. For this pandemic, where are they? Center for
CDC.
Disease Control, CDC, PAHO for the region, WHO, World Health Organization. Those are the kinds of places where you go for information on a pandemic.
Certainly.
Right? So-
And again, we have very close kinship ties in Grenada. I'm sure everybody here probably knows a family doctor or a nurse or somebody, right, outside of the media personalities and other folks who talk all the time, out there, that you can have a very personal conversation with.
Right.
When I decided to take that vaccine, for example, I consulted two physicians who are dear friends of mine. We go back from childhood days, and of course my mom is also a public health nurse, retired and all of that. And I had some serious conversations, and I got the reassurance from people who I know care about me. Understand? And everything said to me, yes, this is a good thing to do.
Right.
And then based upon that, I was able to influence those who are close to me and the families, etc. And ask them, to have whatever issues you're having, but whatever troubling, let's say, information that is still lurking in there, find someone who you have the confidence in.
Absolutely.
Especially someone who you know. Half of those people who send things on the internet, who dress like doctors and white suits,
I
on
know,
what
it's
have you.
all,
You don't even know if they're actually, legitimate doctors. You don't know these things, right? What they have is hype, sensation, and followers, right? And popularity does not necessarily mean that
you're credible.
You
It
are
doesn't-
credible,
right.
precisely. So you got to check these things.
Very well said. I mean, couldn't have said it better. And we need to talk to each other. We need to dialogue with each other.
Right.
We need to, just open up to information. Don't let the conspiracy theories and everything else block you from receiving information.
Right.
Open your mind, listen carefully. And having said that, I will share a story with this an artist here in Grenada who. I told her a long time ago, you need to get vaccines. So when the place opened up, you could get your gig back at the hotel and that kind of thing.
Right.
And she was quite willing and stuff, but she had some concerns. No problem, she had some concerns. So she, I think, initially sent me something, from some, illegitimate
Some source
site,
out there.
telling me. So I wrote her back and said, look, okay, in this case, that's not really a legitimate site. Look at, just look at this link.
Right.
Blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So she, took it at heart, went back, still concerned. And recently she sent me something else, which is this guy, like you say, well dressed, a lot of followers, etc., saying something about even if you have the vaccine, you could still get COVID. And I said, yes. I said, if you have the vaccine, you could still get, but you might not die.
Right.
I said that the only thing the vaccine really claims to do, it's going to ensure that you don't get severely sick and die. That's the only guarantee you have with the vaccine, but it's an important guarantee.
Well, it's true. It's a boost to the immune system. It's almost like, let's say, the influenza virus has been around for a long time. Sometimes we get colds and so almost every season, right? And this virus keeps changing all the time. But over time, your body have developed at least some kind of resistance, so you wouldn't end up sick with pneumonia or dying from the common cold. You understand?
Right.
So in a similar way, whatever whatever mechanism you have now at this stage, it's really helping to just get our immune system a little stronger so we can survive.
Exactly.
That's what it is. It's not a cure.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It's just helping your body to just fight it,
Right.
basically.
And and again, we just got to think of the fact that and like you said, the mass gatherings. Suppose we have, these are super spreader events. We, our little country, couldn't really deal with the outcome of that if it was negative.
It's true. It's true.
We just can't.
It's true.
So
and of course, one more thing I must emphasize also, beyond just the vaccination or people's lifestyle, eating healthy, exercising, and so forth, these things must also be a part of your routine.
Yeah, building your immune system.
Immune system.
Absolutely.
And
Very
see
important.
our local foods. I see much more people getting into farming now. Support our local farmers or plant some things your own. And instead of buying, let's say, the synthetic beverages or whatever, use your local fruits and vegetables. Make teas with all of the things that your grandmother used to make teas with, all the mints and the basil, and so you grow in your backyard. Try these things, and again, keep a positive attitude. I think your mind is a huge part of your overall health. Surround yourself with positive people. Don't let the depression of whatever is happening in the world get to you.
Because it's tough, huh? It's tough.
It is tough.
It takes a toll on your mental health as
that's
well.
Right. That's
definitely.
right. And that's where music comes in to help ease the stress.
Exactly. That's right. That's why I'm never stressed out.
That's right. That's right. So listen to this program and you'll be much better.
Exactly. And finally, people, COVID-19 is our enemy, not each other.
Correct.
Please, let's put Grenada first, especially at a time like this.
That's right.
Okay. So, Simon, enough said about that. I think enough said about that. I think it's almost about time to bring in the man himself.
All right.
Mr. Cecil Bartholomew. Are you familiar with Cecil's music?
Oh, certainly. I mean, I met Cecil a couple of years ago when he just came back, around the same time I came back to Grenada also. Okay. And I mean, I heard him play in hotels, in other private events all over. And he's literally a virtuoso on the strings, and he's one of the musicians too that I think can really help, especially the younger ones, to appreciate what it takes to practice and to commit and to grow, as a musician. He's always willing to share. He's a very generous person in that capacity, and has been a great friend of mine for years. So I really appreciate him coming on this morning and really sharing his experience as a musician with the world.
Nice. I'm going to play this little one. It's a ad, COVID-19 ad, a vaccination ad. But what I like about it, I like the music, of course.
Right.
And the message is just so simple. It's just so simple. Sometimes that simple message,
hits
a spot. But here we go.
Take a shot, take a shot, take a shot, back to your life. Take a shot, take a shot, take a shot, get back to your life. Take a shot, take a shot, take a shot, get back to your life. Take a shot, take a shot, take a shot, get back to your life.
A message from Republic Bank.
So what we're going to do now, we're going to switch things around.
Right.
We're going to bring Cecil in. Timon, Master Control, come and give us a little helping hand down here while we switch things around. And maybe you can play the ads and stuff. You just let me know what you want to do. And we will switch things around for Cecil.
All right. Nice.
The Grenada Broadcaster Network extends a sincere thank you to all corporate partners who ensured the successful broadcast of the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games. Your unwavering support allowed us as a nation to witness the exploits of our Olympians and the entry into the history books by our own Kirani James. Again, we say thank you and salute you, Premium Auto Services, Republic Bank, Eminent Hardware, and Grenada Cooperative Bank.
GBN, in association with the Grenada Development Bank and the Agricultural Shop, presents the GBN Exclusive, Taking Agriculture Forward, a two-part, 2-hour forum on August 11th and 18th from 8 p.m. on GBN Television 7 and 11, K105 FM, and on all GBN's social media platforms. This forum will discuss primary agriculture and opportunities, agricultural extension and support, challenges facing the sector, and policies and food system sustainability. Join us on August 11th and 18th as we speak to the experts on taking agriculture forward.
Looking for that injection of vibes and energy, of course? Well, I've got just that. Hi, my name is Gary, Mr. Smooth, and I'm inviting you to join me on the Hot Morning Show on Hot 98.5, 98.7 FM. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 10 in the morning. I've got a healthy dose of your favorite and most infectious hits sampled with information, news, laughter, and all the other ingredients that go into making the hottest morning show on the radio, The Morning Heat. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit us up on WhatsApp, 435-7517. We've got topics, we've got discussions, calls, voice notes, and so much more. But I can't tell you everything. You gotta tune in. The Hot Morning Show on Hot FM 98.5, 98.7 with yours truly, Gary, Mr. Smooth. Kaboom!
There's no better way to start your day than with me on Good Morning Grenada. Good Morning Grenada is your one-stop shop. We have information, education, entertainment, your bi-weekly traffic cam, and we link up with the sister isles of Carriacou and PT Martinique. Join me every 6:35 on weekdays for Good Morning Grenada. It's your daily dose of all things Grenadian mixed with just a little bit of crazy.
Good morning, good morning.
I said just a little bit of crazy.
I tell all of the things that take me.
Good Morning Grenada, 6:35 a.m. on weekdays, available on all GBN platforms. Start your morning off right.
5 things you need to know about self-isolation. Stay home. If you are told to self-isolate, it means staying at home, not going to work, school, or other public places, and you should not have any visitors. Separate yourself. If you live with others, then you need to stay in a well-ventilated bedroom with the doors shut. If you have to share a bathroom, then use it after everyone else. Don't share towels and toiletries, as this may put others at risk. Call ahead. If you develop symptoms such as a fever or cough, then seek advice first by calling the Ministry of Health's hotline at 538-4787 or 458-4787. Please do not show up at a medical center or hospital, as this may put others at risk. Take care with waste. If you test positive, your waste should be double bagged and disposed of separately. Create a buddy system. If you live on your own, you can plan with friends and family to check in with each other and run essential errands if one becomes sick. Once sick, they should leave groceries on the doorstep. Why it's important. COVID-19 causes a mild illness for 4 out of 5 persons. Self-isolating will help protect the older generation and those who may have underlying health problems from getting infected.
So we're back with you, and we've got our special guest in the house. Hello, Good morning, Mr. Cecil Bartholomew.
Good morning, my good friend.
You hear me okay? I want to try the headphones.
Well, I'm hearing you.
You hear me okay, right? Right. Okay, and I'm hearing you good, so we're good to go.
So we
I don't think you need headphones. Mine I need.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
I thank you, of course, for having me here. It's an absolute pleasure.
It's been my pleasure. it is entirely my pleasure to have you here this morning. I have two good people here this morning, Simon Green, and you.
Yes, and he's my good friend.
And he's a good friend too.
Yeah.
So, Cess.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Like Simon said, and I say, guitar is extraordinary. Maestro.
Well, you've been kind. And, thank you.
Simon and I were talking about earlier on. I don't know if you heard us a little bit. But what are some of the benefits of music to individual development?
Well, if music be the food of love, play on.
All right.
And the universe is about love.
Mm-hmm.
So the benefits of music is to provide the inner space with the feelings, with the goodness that we have within us, to help us to admonish the stuff that we see outside. So the benefits are the goodness, the love, the joy, the peace that it provides.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes work, but to get to the inside, a lot of us are musicians, but then there are a lot of others who like to play the music, and there's a big difference.
Of course. And having said that, what we're going to do now is bring in your video to introduce you. That video, on your website. It's Timon. So Timon, we'd like to play that video of Cecil's. If you could find it now would be a great time. where did it really begin, Sis?
It began in Grenada, really. I was coming from the park one day, from playing football. I lived in St. John Street, and I looked down on the other street, which was Market Hill, and I saw a guy by the name of Mr. Cecil Fletcher.
Right.
He, of course, was an eminent doctor, and he died about a month ago, and I would like to dedicate this time. I wish I was there to play for him, but I hope I'll play now and he'll hear it. So he was the first person that I heard the string. He had a touch of silk and velvet, and I cannot describe. But from the time I heard that, something happened. I was about 12, 13 years old. And it caught me, and it still does. I'm still trying to chase it.
So at that time, were you exposed to any other instrument or anything, or were you anyway on track to attracted to music somewhere already, or not really?
Well, my aunts, a couple of them, they died in the Island Queen, and they were both musicians. And maybe I got their spirits, but I didn't have any direct exposure at the time. Of course, no more than what we have, here in Grenada. It was that first note he played that really went inside. And that's where I took it to other levels. Very fortunate to have him around.
So did you then approach him about giving you some little techniques, music lessons? How did it go from? Where did it go from there?
Well, I was a little boy to him at that time.
Okay.
And at that
so you said
time,
you were 13. He was about what?
About 19, 20 or something.
Okay.
And at those days, a year made a big difference. You don't play, with the big boys. But his brother, I used to play. I was not too bad in football, and his brother, whose name was Fimba, said, "Hey, but you want to play?" I say, "Yeah." He said, "Well, I'll bring you to see Cyril."
Okay.
And he brought me to his brother, and very nice fella. You so charming, and when I heard his eulogy, it was the same man. And yeah, he took me under his wing, and not just me. There were quite a few of us that he took under his wings, and I am probably the only one that sort of sustained. The rest did different things, but I'm still trying to chase the note.
Yeah, that note you heard. But did you learn on his guitar? Or did you eventually have to did you buy a guitar at that time? How did that go to practice and that kind of?
Well, believe it or not, my first guitar came from Eddie Bullen's father.
Oh yeah, the Bullen's music store, man.
Eddie Bullen on Cross Street.
Yeah, of course.
On Cross Street. So I got that guitar for a Christmas present from my mother because I was bugging her. "Ma, I want a guitar. Ma, I want a guitar." She said, "Well, what are you going to do with it?" I said, "It's hard to have a teacher. I have Mr. Fletcher, But anyway, she gave me this guitar,
nice.
and the rest was history, so to speak,
Cecil, I have a request.
Yes.
You're live in the studio.
Yes.
You have your guitar. You have your axe with you.
Yeah.
I want to have a request for Bob Marley, Redemption song.
Okay. You want me to do that now?
Yeah, if you can. Yeah. What kind of guitar do you play, by the way?
Well, I have a lot of different types of instruments, but this is a Takamine, and I use, but this one is the axe, which I go out on stage with and stuff like that, and I plug it in because it has the acoustics, and at the same time, I can play with it, electronics. So this is one of those that is very versatile. Yeah.
Okay.
So I could play. Well, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, man. I mean, high level. I love the finger picking. How would you describe your style?
What I try to do, and that is easier to describe the style, it is a finger style, classical bass, but jazz background. Because I play a lot of jazz and, I would do other things that I would demonstrate that. But it's a combination of a self-expression. So I got the classical background, I got the jazz background, and of course I have the calypso background. So I tried to give a pelao.
Right. And that's what music is all, and that's your style, and that's what music is about.
Style.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about.
So I don't know, some of it is finger, is the finger. Other games you would see a lot of chords. So please give it a name. Please give it a name.
Did your teacher ever hear you play when you attained this kind of level? Did you ever get a chance to meet up, did he ever hear you?
The last time I saw him, when he came to Grenada for his brother's funeral, he came to my house, of course. I mean, he came to my house, and there was another guy there that he used to teach, and that came in. He's also from the States, and he came down. And when you're in front of a maestro, you're so adoring that I played, and he was very pleased. But I wanted him to play more because I don't know when I'm seeing again. And he still played a little, he played, not as much because of course he's a doctor, and stuff like that. And there's a story about that too, but we'll talk about another time. But anyway, he heard me. And he taught me, didn't teach me. I was playing Fly Me to the Moon. And he said, there are some chords that you need to change.
Okay. The ears to learn, boy.
Some chords you need to change. So that he took the guitar and he showed me some progressions, and of course I played them up to now, because he had a unique style in blending chording. He changed a note, he didn't change a chord. He would take a fifth and flatten it. He would take a ninth and add to it. He would take an augmented and make it a progression, and make it a diminish. So he had ways of getting into the nuance of the instrument and the chords. And plus, what he really taught me was to play inside, don't play outside.
Play what you feel.
Play outside. Like I could play any place because I am lost to you guys when I play, because I keep going in and going in and going in, and then you find the beauty and the kingdom and God. You find that space. So, he heard me, but I still adored him.
Right. And of course...
He just had a beautiful touch. His touch was just amazing.
And of course, Cecil's talking about, the different chords we use in music. So the major chords, minor chords, augmented, diminished, all and on and on and on and on. But it gives you the kind of song you're looking for.
That's right.
And, like you see him play, you look at Cecil play, he's finding it, whatever he needs at the time,
You're going for it.
Yeah, you're going for it. Cecil, I think really and truly, another thing actually, before I say really and truly anything, is that people think sometimes you just have to be a musician alone. Your teacher was a musician and a medical doctor. We have a guy right here in Grenada, Martin. Dr. Martin is a very good musician. He's a very good bass player.
Yes, I know. I know Doc Martin very well.
Somebody who caught my attention many years ago was Condoleezza Rice.
Yes.
She is a classically trained...
Classical musician.
Yeah, musician,
Beautiful, yeah.
So, I always say, I tell my daughter who started playing and then moved into medicine, you don't have to give up the music.
No.
You don't have to give up the music, no matter what you do.
No.
Actually, music will help you along the way.
Exactly, it does. As a matter of fact, it helped me because I'm an electronic engineer.
And how did the music help you exactly in that?
Well, the music gave me everything, and I'll tell you how. When I left here and went back to Trinidad, went to school there, I was born there, but of course I continued playing the guitar. But at that time, I couldn't afford an amplifier. We used to plug in our guitars in the back of a radio at the time, and try to get a little output from the gramophone, and they used to call it, So I went to play out at a dance or something. We had a little thing, as the little guys. And I played, Eugene, and nobody could hear me when the guys with the drums and the pan and this. And at the end, halftime, I was the only one back on the stand, and all the girls, not all the girls, all the guys went to their little girlfriends and drinking pop. I was holding my guitar, and everybody, I'm ashamed to even attempt. So I said, when I went home, I hold my little radio, and I said, you see, I'm going to make that. I'm going to make an amp. 2 weeks after, the Guardian in Trinidad come to the United States and study electronics. I called my aunt. I said, Auntie, because she used to go up every year to shop. So I said, please take me. She took me up. I went, my first school was Delahanty Institute of Electronics. I made an amplifier, I made a stereo for my house, I made a TV, and I made speaker systems. And the amplifier, I played it at the World's Fair, a 50 amp amplifier in full song, in full regalia.
There you go.
This made me get into electronics, and afterwards, of course, I love electronics. I went to university and so on, and I came down here as the IT director, so I didn't do too bad.
Right. And all through music, huh?
All through music.
Opens the way to a lot of things.
And plus, when I traveled, when I worked for the Xerox Corporation, I had an international job. When I go to the airport in the departure lounge, my secretary would hold my computer, I would hold my guitar, and we both go on to the plane. Everywhere I went in Europe, I played. Have the guitar in one hand and my computer and my entourage or whatever,
Excellent.
The guitar.
The guitar, I hear you.
That gave me.
Oh yeah.
And God, because I don't know what made it so strong. A lot of people begin, but they don't continue. So whatever feeling I have inside, and it still drives me. I still practice every day, and if something interferes with that, so.
Cecil, Bartholomew, it's time for another song, I think. And this time I'm going to leave it to you to pick. So, a song of your choice to the people listening, or our viewers and listeners, on TV, radio, and social media.
Well, let me do the one that Mr. Fletcher did, Fly Me to the Moon.
Oh, nice song. Beautiful, beautiful. Hey, says Joan Pitt says she is listening, watching. I think she may be in St. Lucia.
Yeah, Joan is Joan.
Right.
Hi, Joan. Hi, Joan. Good friend. Good friend.
Nice.
It's nice.
Yeah, Fly Me to the Moon.
With Mr. Fletcher's progressions.
Right. Who's the original writer of that song? I mean, so many people have done it.
To be honest with you, I can't put the name off the top of my head. But everybody and his brother did that tune because it's so flexible. It has a lot you could do with it. When I find it, I'll give you a call. And
I could Google it.
Yeah, you can do it right now. Yeah.
Just curious. You've played a lot.
Yes.
You've played all over the world.
Yes.
You recall like what you consider to be one of your best performances? The one that you were most happy with, maybe?
There are no best performances. Mr. Andre Segovia, which is one of the greatest, he was the greatest guitarist, was asked that same question. And his response, I think, was the best response I ever heard. He said that when you have a concert or performance to do, there is one that you practice for. There's the performance that you give. And there's the one you wish you gave. That is true. I'm never pleased. There's always the note that you missed maybe, or the idea that came that you didn't quite get there in time and the idea went, especially when you're performing. Like I prepared for a performance. I haven't played much of what I prepared yet, but I played, So is that I keep going back to God. I keep going back to the inside. You get the tools, but somebody else is using the tools. So I have the skill. I practice the skill and the stuff, but once I pick the instrument up, it's sort of like out of my hands. And so there's no best performance.
Right.
What I hope for is that I give the people, the audience, whoever they may be or wherever they may be, the joy and the expectations are met. And I have to say thank God that up to now I think that I have accomplished that, but I still see the carrot in front. I'm still chasing the carrot. I know how much I don't know now. I know where I am. I know what I need to do. And I hope God give me the life and the health to be able to pursue it and to go after. So I don't know, it's a long answer to a simple question.
Yeah.
There's no best performance.
Follow-up question would be, do you consider yourself a perfectionist?
Well, I'm a perfectionist. I don't play perfectionally. I don't play perfectly. But yes, I am a perfectionist in life. Everything, I go for the best. I go the best that I can see or I think is the best. Because the best to me may not be the best to somebody else. But I keep going. There's a spirit, there's a driving force within me that keeps me, I eat well, I exercise, because it's all part of being able to perform. The mind, the body is the temple of the soul, so that has to be right. So it takes care of everything. So yes, I keep reaching for perfection. I could be a terrible person to be around because people might say, well, what's wrong with you? The world is not perfect. Who says so?
But is that spirituality to the music, that deep spirituality?
Well, that's what I found. I found something in there that is pushing me. So when people say it, all I could say, God bless you. I mean, you're not there yet. Work at it. Because I have found something that is telling me to do it, so.
Cecil, what would you say to a young kid out there who, like you, when you were 13, who wants to play the guitar?
Yeah, I have a few students.
You teach, right? Well, but what would you say to a young person who wants to become a guitarist, who heard you this morning, want to play like you? What's the steps?
Well, the first thing I will say that I meet that I have great respect for, but sometimes it could be an impediment, are the parents. Mm-hmm. We have natural talents, we have natural abilities, and we come on the planet with them. I have a few students, maybe had or have, that were excellent. They have this gift, being able to play. And once I see that, I would keep you. I don't care about the cost per hour. I want you to go home with something, so I stay there with them and work. And the parents just say, well, he has to do this, or he cannot do that, or she cannot do this, and they come in the way of this gift. And then you just see the light in their eyes fade. And that's because you learn to see the spirit now. I see the spirit in people. When I meet people, I look at you, but I'm seeing you, not what the mask is putting on, but you. So you see it very bright in kids, and you just see the
light went out.
It's not out, it's dimming. And you try to tell the parents, well, let her practice. Now, a thing that kids, especially kids, they hate to practice, hate to read music. They don't like to go FAC, every good boy does fine, and they hate that. So what I do is I try to play a tune. You see, they like to play. They look at me and they look at my fingers and want to do what I do. So I start with them doing that so they could get a tune in their head. Then I say, okay, you see what you just played? That's A. That's B. That's C sharp. Oh, I say, no, I'm not going to play it. You look at that chart and see if you could do what I just did. And they say, A, B, C sharp. They say, but I play like you. So now the connection is made. But then again, they want to play, but then they go home and they have other activities, especially these games and stuff. So what I would say to them, which is hard, listen to what you feel, but then again, a kid has to go up against their parents and, the adults, and then there's a fear and all that sort of stuff. But don't let the pilot light go out. So maybe you may not be able to do it now, but keep at it, because the light will not go out. In my case, the light is still as bright as ever for music. Now, I had to bargain with my aunt, because when I first started to play, and I used to go and play the guitar before I do my homework, she said, Cecil, stop playing this chukink. I don't want you to be playing tourists, for tourists on the beach. Go and get your school. You have to go to university. Well, all of us, we knew we had to go to university. That was just the norm at that time. So I say, Auntie, if I come first, second, or third in test, would you allow me to play? She said you could come up to fifth. For all of my college days, first to third, just to play.
So you can play the guitar.
Just to play. And when she saw that and I went to the States and I started university, I used to play out just to make my extra change and stuff to pay the apartment rent. She bought me a Gibson.
Oh,
a Gibson 375,
nice guitar.
And I was playing in bands, and so she did see I was serious, and I did well in school. And again, it's the guitar, because I wanted to play that, so whatever it took, I did. So the kids today is, if you want to play music and you feel it, go for it. Don't, because what you're feeling is real. And when you get a gift, it stays with you till all your life, till you go to your grave. You don't get retired from a gift. Look, I'm an engineer, master's degree. I'm retired, but I didn't retire from that. I didn't retire from that. Okay? So the things you get on earth will leave you, but your gifts don't.
Yeah, it's a good point, and that's what they are. They are gifts. Sis, it's my turn now. Make another request.
Okay.
I know it's too early for that. But I'll ask you, but then you could decide if you want to play it now or not.
Okay.
You played Bob Marley, then you played Fly Me to the Moon, jazz.
Yeah.
And I wanted to add a little soca, Savannah Grass.
Well, let's see. Well, the Holy Spirit is here, so what it asks for, you yield to the higher powers.
I want to send Kes a copy now. I want to send Kes a copy. Yeah. So how do people reach you, Cecil? And also, are you taking students? Are you?
Yes.
How-
Always taking students. Now, how I do that is I sort of interview the students. So what I mean by that is there are a lot of people, they like music. They like to play music. but they don't have it for music.
Right.
You know, and they find out very soon that the music they like is not that easy.
Right, it's hard work.
It's not to play. Like many people, when they come into my studio and they open the door and I'm practicing, they say, "But Mr. B, why are you practicing?" I say, "Well, it's now I have to practice." They say, "But you could play already." I say, So what I do is I get kids or whoever, any age, because this is something, you know, you don't have to want to play to be a virtuoso or to be like me or somebody else. You know, we just happen to be who we are. But there's an inner joy and feeling and goodness and benefit, health otherwise, that it gives you. So when you work in your own space, you get the benefits of it. But what I do is I give people a couple weeks to see how they're doing, if they still want to play, or when I give them a chord, if they go home and practice it. Well, kids don't like to practice. They like instant stuff. So I have a different way of being able to teach them. But an adult knows that they have to practice. So they would practice and say, you know, Mr. B, you know, I had to do this, you know, and I really couldn't get and do the tune that you say to do. So I say to them, well, it's not me, you know, I don't mind. You know, I'm here to teach you, but it's you that wouldn't get the tune, you know, it's not me. So anyway, I go through a couple weeks and see who's serious. Well, not serious because they don't know as yet if they're serious or not, but still at least the one who want to go forward, and then I will take that person. But there are other kids that come in, they play the first time, they come the second time, and they're looking around the room, and they're touching guitar strings and stuff. I say, well, miss, your daughter or your son is not ready.
And how do people reach you?
Well, I have my cell phone. I could give it to you.
Give it out. You can give it out.
Yeah, it's 415-1414. Cecil Bartholomew.
And of course, your website.
My website is www.cbtunes.com. And I have to say, that website that you saw, that whole artistry and thing, was initiated by my son, Brian Bartholomew. He's the one that gave, he's the one that initiated the idea, and he said, hey, Dad, and I told him instantly, listen, I don't want anything to do with website, I don't want to do with marketing, I want to play. And they don't, and he still, I said, Brian, I want to play. But he came out with this thing. It was very well done.
It's beautiful, man. I love it. I love the whole
very well done. You know,
nice face.
He called me. He did a very good job on that. So I have to give him the accolades. Thank you, Brian, if you're listening.
I'm sure. I know he's listening.
And my home phone number is 440-2341. Of course, the area code is
473.
473.
Now I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. You know, I like to take, I love your chord. How you think that the chords you use and all that, and your style is that for people to kind of get that song. Normally you probably have like 3 guitarists or 2 guitarists, but you do it all with you alone. The chords, the lead, everything. So now I'm going to put you on the spot. If you don't want me to, you tell me. But I like to take simple songs and like 3 blind mice, bum, 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 and let me hear what you would do with that. 3 blind mice.
So I stop there. Take it from let's get out of tune. Excuse me for that, but I hate strings out of tune. So that's how I do with all tunes. So I say, so I build now. So I started off with, so now I would do. So I'm building, okay, and then so the bass didn't change. So now I use the modes when I compose and when I doing this. The modes like the Ionian, the Dorian, the Vexillodian, the Mexolidian. So I go to the Dorian. The Dorian is. You hear that scale? So I'm here. So I'm. So when I go to the street, blind myself. See?
No, yeah, I mean, the thinking is just amazing, man.
You see how you get it?
It's just totally amazing, you know?
Yeah. But it's not as hard as you think of it. People make, they make it hard. But once you could count, like the scales, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when you do the fifth, when you do an added fifth, if you insist, let's suppose you're playing in C, well, you add the G, and that is augmented.
Right.
So you just sharpen the G. Right. So why you making all this big fuss, if you want to flatten the G, okay, so you flatten the G and you reach F. So you're playing F now. The F is what we call a suspended chord because it's constant. Like when you go, it's a half tone. It's tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So when you reach the half tone, you can't flatten the F, and make F flat. Right. So you go into E. So you get tone, tone, tone. So you have a suspended fourth. And that is F suspended.
So we're losing people who are not musicians. We're losing people who are not musicians. So let's get back into some more music. Your choice.
Okay.
We're gonna make this possibly the last song, but we'll see how it goes.
I wanted to. This tune is for everybody, but I mix it with one of the other people. I mix it with Misty. I think I would end with something like that. I played. Well, let me play the Misty first, and I'll end with that piece, which is faraway places. Everybody's far. People been calling me from away, but I played and I changed it. And the reason I want to play that, there's a lady that had a 90th birthday. That her daughter took her away, here places. But anyway, she was humming faraway places. So I played it for her and I sent it to her. Nice. But anyway, I'm going to get to that in a little bit.
So you start with Misty.
So I'll start with Misty.
yes. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
And this is the piece.
How you call that on the guitar again when you do the
That's a harmonic.
The harmonics.
Yeah, the 12th fret harmonic. Every time you go for 12 frets, you get a harmonic. But you have to know how to play. That's all. you.
Yes, yes. And that last piece, what's the name of that one?
Faraway place. Excuse me.
That's the Faraway Places.
That's Faraway Places.
Yeah, I'm not that familiar with that. It was what you're saying.
Yeah.
Faraway Places.
Not many people are. It's a pretty old tune, but it's one of the tunes that you can do a lot with. And it has a lot of meaning. And when I got the request for it, it was a good friend of mine.
Oh, that's what you were saying.
Kay Simon. She called me her mother's 90th birthday. And she was singing over the Mediterranean or someplace. They were faraway places with strange sounding names. So I thought I would, the people here, I got calls from Africa, from England, when they saw the advertisement, all my friends from around the world. So
nice.
Faraway places with strange sounding names.
Nice. And let's say good morning to Kay. Kay, I hope you're listening. Yeah. Kay Simon, a friend of mine as well. So what I wanted to ask you, I asked you before, is who are some of your guitar influences? Who are some of the guitarists that you like?
Well, I have mentors who taught me, that were pretty. I was very fortunate. Mr. Kenny Burrell, jazz. He taught me a lot of the jazz and his style. I call his style the intermeasure style. He never starts on the beat when he solos. When a place is playing baba, he always
off beat.
But he ends halfway in the other beat. So what that does, it allows you don't have to play loudly, because the guitar has a space where the other instruments don't have.
Gotcha.
So that style, so I sort of adopted that. And the other one that taught me the jazz chording with the finger is Mr. Lorendo Almeida. He's a Brazilian guitarist. He died, a few years ago. But I spent a lot of time in Brazil also, in a place called Bahia. Yes, El Salvador. And it amazed me, guys in the street, little guys, in the guitar, and they pulling chords. I mean, I said, but where you learn that? But it's their language. The Portuguese language has a swing for flatted nines, so they learn where I would learn A minor, C.
They learn all that other stuff.
They learn F added 9, flatted 5th, 6 ninths, and they don't know what it is.
Right, but they're doing it.
But they're doing it, So I spent. He was trained, exposed to Mr. Andres Segovia, and so he was a classical guitarist also, and he bridged the gap between the classical and the bossa nova. A lot of my playing, you would find I have a bossa nova flavor. And that gives you the salsa, it gives you the pulse. And those are my two. As a matter of fact, he influenced how I played there through Cyril Fletcher. One day I was at him, and he said, come, Cecil, inside. That time they had the 33 and a third, turntables. And he had his aunt send him a record of Almeida. So he said, come, Cecil, come inside. So I come, he said, tell me how many guitars are playing there. So I listened to it. I heard bass, 1. I heard chords, where I could play chords, 2. And a sort of a harmony in the back. I say, well, they must have another guy playing background. Then the melody. So I say about 4. You say 1. That was when I changed from pick to fingers. I play with the pick jazz. I have I play jazz, pure jazz. But that is when I say I have to learn that. And Andres Segovia, he said that the guitar is like an orchestra looking, if you look at the other side of a binoculars, you see everything small, but it's all there. He said that's the guitar. You can play everything that a whole orchestra can play, it's just smaller. So those ideas came to me, and I went after playing. I started picking. I took classical guitar lessons in the States, and I'm still trying.
Apart from your teachers, and people just like other guitarists that you like.
There's Christopher Parkman, who is a classical guitarist. I like George Benson. He's a little precocious. I like his style because he could run. He could run from here to, I don't know, he could beat Usain Bolt. He said something. I know him. I played with him in St. Lucia. Boo Hinkson. Boo is my good friend.
Okay.
And Boo was on stage and with these guys. And George and and those guys were there. So I like Boo a lot. Boo is a good player. He's a real nice player. There are some other classical people. Now there is a guy in America that I don't know if I hear him again. His name eludes me. Yes, it will come back to me. You see, this age is catching up.
Don't worry about it, man.
But anyway, I have a few of the good guys over there. George is one. Howard Roberts. Then they have, Howard was a smooth jazz player. You know, he and these guys that I like, they influence me. You know, I like to hear them, but they influence me a lot. So, and there's a few more that are around that I listen to for different reasons. The names don't stick, you know, based on who they are and what they do, you know, that sort of thing.
Another question I have for you. Looking at you, I notice you have nails.
Yeah.
So I remember when I was playing the guitar, I always cut my nails, you know?
Yeah.
Cut your nails. But I noticed that when you're doing the finger picking, you actually
use the nails.
Yeah, it gives you a bigger you use the nails.
You know, I change the tones. I can get a sharp tone, I could get a smooth tone if I play with the flesh, or I can get an in-between tone. And of course, I don't have nails on this one.
You kind of nails it that way.
No, because this has to go.
And I noticed that too.
Yeah.
But that hand that you strum on, you have nails. The hand that you hold the chords on, you don't have nails.
No, I don't.
Which makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, so that
interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, that is the way you're observant. These are the nuance, you know, the nuances of the instrument. Yeah.
The other thing, finally, is any local player, either here or abroad, guitarist, has gotten your attention or you think has a good potential?
Yes. Jeremy Hector. Jeremy is a talented young man. He plays from his heart. He's young, so he's reaching. He's not all inside of Jeremy yet. He's still trying to get the flair from the outside. But Jeremy is going to do well because he's not only playing the guitar, he loves the instrument.
Right.
And you have to have the love. If you don't have the love, because it's too hard to play if you don't have the love. This is a lot of work. I play every day, and you know, and I stick at it, you know, because I want to get this song. So he's like that. I expect a lot from Jeremy, and plus there are a lot of people around him like Eddie Bullen and so you know, they really have him under, and of course I'm open to him at all times. I mean, you know, have you done any work with him in terms of? Yeah, we did a couple tunes, you know, here and there. What I'm trying with him, and I don't like to use the word a teacher. I'm a guide because God is your teacher. You have a gift. It's telling you something, but you need a guide to tell you what tools you need to bring forward that gift. What Jeremy needs now is to put the chording. You see, like how I get the bass, but that's hard to. That takes years
to develop.
To develop. But he's young enough where he can do it. Because a lot of people, how he plays now, he needs a band. He needs a backup system. You see, I play, in all these hotels, something I play by myself. As a matter of fact, the people who come from abroad, they admire that because they come here and say, gee, every time we come, we seen somebody that's singing with backup tracks, and they say, gee, Mr. Bartholomew, don't you teach? And, because these are people that are connoisseurs from Europe and so on, that they don't have backup. They play. They could play. So I explain to them, of course, we really don't have the type of musicianship exposed to these people who want to sing and they want to make $1, so you really can't be too hard on them for using backup tracks, because that's what we have. But Jeremy, you have to start this young, because when I play, I don't think about, well, I'm playing the bass now, I'm playing this now, but you have to start separating the brain to get the dexterity. But once you get the dexterity, like when you say 3 blind mice, I didn't have to think of the Dorian. I didn't have to think of the other chords. I just started to build because that's in me. That's part of my fabric. But to get it there, is where the work is, and not many people want to get it there.
Because it's hard work. It's hard work. It's a lot of work.
But Jeremy, I have a lot of confidence in
Excellent.
him, and I think he'll go far, and I'll help him whatever way I can, to be his guide.
The first time as a kid I ever heard somebody play like how you play was his first name Sidney Payne. I told you about him.
Todd Payne.
Todd Payne. That was the first person
Todd Payne,
I ever heard play
He's
the guitar.
my good friend.
I ever heard play the guitar like that.
Good friend. Well, was
deceased now, but
deceased.
he.
Todd and I, as a matter of fact, we used to walk up Church Street to Mr. Fletcher's house, and we sit on the step. There's a little step there, that every evening he would be playing, and we would go and sit on the step. Todd Payne was one of those.
To listen to him and
to
watch
listen
him.
to
And
him play. Dr. Cyril Keith Fletcher call him Soups, is his nickname. I could call him that now. Please don't come down. Was a fantastic, his touch. He's a gifted musician. Of course, he's a brilliant man. I mean, he studied anatomy, and he was the best in Moana. But this gift for the music, when he touched the guitar, it singed. It gave a little, and that was his. And Todd Payne was one of those that used to come. It was Todd Payne, Ian Steele, Godfrey Brain, Sebastian Peters, who is also a doctor, Dr. Peters, Keith Ed, myself, Ian Steele has said him already, but there were about 6 or 8 of us that just adored Cyril.
Right. And you're the one who stuck with the music. Mainly.
Something in me, something in me, because I fought my aunts. I said, okay, it made me do well in school, and then I fought everything so I can do it, so it's something else that happened that I cannot explain to anyone.
Cecil, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on Greenz Music to the World today. I mean, we appreciate all the listeners, all of us, all of Grenada, all over the world. We appreciate that free concert that you gave us today. Normally, concerts like this would be like, 100 US. So I'll try to collect for you, but...
100 US. Give it to the COVID patients and try to make them heal,
Yes, exactly. So that's what we're trying to do. Just give free music.
And take your vaccines, by the way.
Yes, take your vaccines and let the music try, because it's a lot of stress, and let the music try to kind of help you along the way. Music is like that, bring some healing.
It's love.
It's
you have
love,
to.
always. Yeah, you're gonna. But I wanted to. Is there anybody you want to say hi to? Right before we close up.
Well, I want to say hi to all of the people that supported me along the years, and the people who support me now, people in the Calabash that I play, they have me playing there, people all over the world that I have played. My son, who has done a lot, for the website and trying to expose the music, and Quiet Fire, which is my band here, with Mr. Quinn, Aixa, Randy Frank, and, Alan. We meet in that little room and pong each other heads and pong out music. And
do you all still play?
Yeah, well, we haven't played out but we still practice.
We still practice, okay.
We still try to practice, attempt practicing.
All right.
But the guys are fantastic, especially Mr. Michael Quinn. He's that guy is a fantastic guy. He will do anything for us in the music, and he keeps trying. And he's just fantastic. So that is my family here, my musical family, Quiet Fire, the band, And the guys are there with me, and they stand all my, idiosyncrasies and my arrogance sometimes. Please forgive me for my...
Yeah, well, Timon, what we're going to do, we're going to have a final song from Cecil, and then we will play the sponsors ad, because, again, without our sponsors, we wouldn't be able to do any of this.
Okay.
So, Cecil, you'll take us out. Take us out with a song and tell us what it's going to be.
How about the Hallelujah chorus?
Okay,
you know the Hallelujah.
Yeah, of course.
Everybody knows that, yeah? And that would, I always like to end with something of the higher powers. So
I like that.
Okay.
love the harmonics at the end. I love the whole song, but I always like the harmonics. You know, I just got this message from Janelle McDonald, who works here at GBN, and a 7.2 magnitude earthquake apparently has hit Haiti.
Oh.
Haiti again. So we send this out to Haiti.
Oh, yes, please, yes. Hope all my people in Haiti, oh, God, I just hope the Holy Spirit is with all of you all and make sure that whatever the healing is necessary, let it be done. May God be with you all. Oh, God.
Says,
yes,
I am gonna, you know, when I'm in a moment, I have all these knobs to touch and all these things to do. When I'm in a moment, I never really enjoy the artists on this program because I'm distracted. But when I go back and look, and I come to my home and I go back, I'm going to enjoy this.
Thank you.
I'm going to tremendously enjoy this when I go back in my own space, relax and listen to this back. I'm going to thoroughly enjoy it. So thank you so much for being here.
Well, I thank you all. Thank you all. And look at it, look how it happens. I really thank you all. It's a pleasure that I've been asked and I can serve and I can give whatever I have to the planet and to everyone. Thank you, Mr. Eugene, and thank you, Mr. Green, and thank you, GBN, and thank you for all of the people who made this possible, the electronics and the media. Thank you all. Thanks.
And just a little mention, as you said, Mr. Green, you know, somebody asked me, Sam and I have been doing a lot of things from way back, from way back since in Talent Search days. And I'm Eugene Gittens and he's Simon Green. And people get it mixed up and call me Green, Eugene Green. Yeah. So I started this program, Greenz Music to the World. And someone said, why you call the program Greenz Music to the World? Because you're Gittens. Yeah. I say it has nothing to do with anybody's last name. Nothing to do with anybody's last name. Greenz. The Greenz. It's Grenada. Greenz. What Green? And I want to say it again. For people who don't know, people who may be listening from abroad, Greenz is the popular name, the young people's name for Grenada. Yeah, Greenz. So Greenz. So Greenz Music the World is Grenada's Music the World, and we've brought that a Trini Grenadian though, but that's cool. Yes, a Trini. We'll still take him because his formative years and his first introduction to the guitar started right here in Greenz.
And my ancestor is from Greenz. My ancestors are from
Everybody
Greenz.
from Grenada. So we claim him 100%.
Yes, okay, all right. I stand.
75%.
I stand whatever. I'll take it.
Hey, thanks a lot, man.
I thank you all.
Thank you. Timon.
I thank you.
Yes, Mr. Timon. Let's go to the commercials and we wrap up the program. Thank you all for listening. We really enjoy having you on the program today. See you again next week.
Greenz Music to the World is brought to you by Gittens Pharmacare, the pharmacy that cares. Halifax Street, St. George's. Natural Cool, Spiceland Mall, Grand Anse. Cool clothes for cool people. The Computer Store Grenada Limited, Spiceland Mall, Grand Anse. The Gamers Paradise with headsets by Razer, Conair, JBL, Sony, Astro, Logitech, and more. And Island Catering, without a doubt, the best food and catering service on the island. Gittens Pharmacare, the pharmacy that cares. Halifax Street, St. George's. Affordable access to care, a wide range of prescription drugs, medical supplies, health and beauty items, diabetic testing supplies, immune system support products, vitamins, supplements, and lots more. Visit us today or call 440-2165. Ask about or call in prescriptions, discounted items, and special delivery requests. Gittens Pharmacare. Care, convenience, expertise. We've got it all.